Hello, myself Deepmala Meena. I welcome you all for the next lecture of Dynamics of Rigid Body. This is our lecture 3 on this topic. So, in last lecture we have discussed about inertial coefficients. Now today's lecture we are starting with the point case of J not parallel to omega. So, we know the relation between angular momentum J and angular velocity omega for the rotating body is J equals to I omega, where omega is angular velocity and I is moment of inertia. Now, if body is asymmetric, then there will not be symmetric axis for it, and in this case the product of inertia will not be zero. The angular momentum for the asymmetric body will be determined with the help of the equations. These equations we have discussed in the last video, lecture 2. What are the equations? Jx equals to Ixx omega x plus Ixy omega y and plus Ixz omega z. Jy equals to Iyx omega x plus Iyy omega y plus Iyz omega z, and Jz equals to Izx omega x plus Izy omega y plus Izz omega z. In this case, moment of inertia about principal axis cannot be determined also. Now, if all the three principal axes of rotation are assumed along x, y, z axes respectively, and body is allowed to rotate about x-axis, then we will have omega equals to omega x I cap, because we are taking here body is rotating about only x-axis. So omega y and omega z will be 0. So jx will be Ixx omega x, jy will be Iyx omega x, and z will be Izx omega x. From these equations, only omega x term will be in the form. Hence, the angular momentum J and angular velocity omega will not be parallel to each other. That is, in this case, the angular momentum and the angular velocity will not be in the same direction. Now, next topic is moment of inertia and radius of gyration of a rigid body. Now, let rigid body is made up of a large number of particles. Let we are taking a number of particles here. The moment of inertia of the body about the axis of rotation will be I equals to mi ri square, and taking this summation for whole number of particles. This is moment of inertia for ith particle, and on taking the summation from I equals to 1 to n, we get the moment of inertia of the body. Thus, the moment of inertia of the rigid body about a fixed axis of rotation is defined as the sum of the product of mass of their particles and the square of the perpendicular distance of the particles from the axis of rotation. If the body is made of continuous structure, then summation sign can be converted into integral. We are having I equals to summation mi ri square. So we can take this summation as an integral. Here this is r square and this is dm, a small mass particle, which we are taking dm particle. Here we are taking ith particle mass, and in integration form we can take this dm. It is clear that the moment of inertia of a rigid body rotating about a fixed axis of rotation depends on the mass and the mass distribution about a fixed axis of rotation. If a point is assumed in the body, if we assume a point in body where the whole mass of the body is concentrated, and the square of the perpendicular distance of this point from axis of rotation multiplied by the whole mass of the body gives the moment of inertia of the body about axis of rotation. Then this distance is called gyration of the body. Hence we can take I equals to mk square equals to summation mi ri square, or we can have k equals to summation mi ri square upon capital M under root. Hence the radius of gyration of a rotating body is that distance from the axis of rotation. What is the radius of gyration? The distance from the axis of rotation, the square of it when multiplied by the whole mass. Square of it when multiplied by the whole mass of the body is equal to the moment of inertia of the rigid body. This is the moment of inertia of the rigid body rotating about the axis of rotation. Its unit is in meter. The radius of gyration depends on the direction and position of the axis of rotation and the distribution of mass about the axis of rotation. Now we will take theorems of moment of inertia. There are two theorems for this. It is clear from the definition of moment of inertia that it depends on the axis of rotation about which the body is rotating. If the position of axis of rotation is changed, the moment of inertia is also changed because it is depending on the axis of rotation. So there are two theorems for moment of inertia. First, theorem of perpendicular axis, and second is theorem of parallel axis. First we will discuss theorem of perpendicular axis. Okay, firstly we will take the statement of this. So what is the statement for the perpendicular axis theorem? The moment of inertia of a plane lamina about the axis perpendicular to its plane is equivalent to the sum of the moment of inertia of the lamina about mutually perpendicular axis in its plane when the desired axis passes through the intersection point of the mutually perpendicular axis. Okay, this theorem is only applicable to the planar bodies which are flat with very less or negligible thick length. Now we will prove this theorem. For this, here are these axes. Let me consider a plane lamina having the axes OX, OY in the plane of lamina shown in figure. This is, here is the point of O. This is OX, OY, and this is OZ. The axis OZ passes through O. OZ, this is OZ, and is perpendicular the plane of lamina. This is perpendicular to the plane of lamina. Let the lamina be divided into a large number of particles, each of mass m. So we are taking a particle at point P at a distance r from O. This is the distance r from O of the particle, and coordinates are x and y. So what will be the relation? R equals to under root x square plus y square, or we can write r square equals to x square plus y square. Now the moment of inertia of the particle P about the axis OZ, will be mr square, and the moment of inertia of the whole lamina about the axis OZ is Iz equals to summation mr square. Okay, now the moment of inertia of the whole lamina about OX axis will be Ix equals to my square, and similarly Iy equals to mx square along OY axis. So from the equation r square equals to x square plus y square, we can write I equals to summation m r square equals to summation m x square plus y square. This is the summation, this is in bracket. So iz equals to mr square equals to, this is ix and this is iy. This is the theorem, this is proved. Now thank you.